Let's get you beginning, starting with the latest on the hijab showdown, which is continuing in the Karnataka High Court for the fifth day now. On Wednesday, colleges opened across Karnataka, but despite the High Court order, standoffs were seen between students and college authorities in several districts. Students refused to remove their hijab before entering the college. In yesterday's hearing, petitioners argued that a display of religion through attire shows diversity, and singling out hijab violates fundamental rights. Prohibitory orders remain intact near colleges across Karnataka. The Karnataka government has also imposed Section 144 in several districts, seeing as protests are already kicking off.
हिजाब एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूट में जाए ऐसा तो बात ही नहीं हो सकता है, किसलिए नबी जी ने बता के गया है कि आप साइना में भी जाओ पढ़ने के लिए, मतलब आप साइना का कानून का हिसाब से चलो या प्रदेश विदेश का कानून का हिसाब से चलो, बट फिर भी आप शिक्षा ले लो, बिकॉज एक मुसलमान का सबसे बड़ा काम है शिक्षा। अभी लोगों का ये पूरा माहौल बना दिया कि शिक्षा से इम्पोर्टेंट हिजाब है।
अलग अलग मजहब के लोग रहते हैं, अलग अलग लिबास पहनते हैं, अलग अलग खाने खाते हैं, मगर बीजेपी का ये जो एक नया गोडसे का हिंदुस्तान बना चाहते हैं, जहां पर वो कहते हैं एक जैसे कपड़े पहनो, सर पे टोपी मत लगाओ, हिजाब मत करो, मीट मत खाओ, ये खाओ वो खाओ, तो ये जबान बोलो, खाली एक ही जबान बोलो, ये तो हिंदुस्तान नहीं है, ये तो गांधी का हिंदुस्तान नहीं है। और मुझे जहां तक लगता है आखिरकार इस मुल्क के लोग जाग जाएंगे और इस गांधी के हिंदुस्तान को गोडसे का हिंदुस्तान बनने नहीं देंगे। ये जो हिजाब की बात है, इसमें यह भी एक साजिश है कि हमारी बच्चियों को तालीम से दूर रखने की कोशिश की जा रही है, मगर मैं उम्मीद करती हूँ कि हमारी बच्चियाँ बड़ी अक्लमंद है, बड़ी बहादुर है, वो अपनी तालीम का नुकसान नहीं होने देंगी।
कौन क्या पहनेगा क्या नहीं पहनेगा इसका फैसला बीजेपी नहीं कर सकती है। अगर कोई लड़की हिजाब पहनती है तो ये उसका हक है, और पूरी दुनिया में इसकी बदनामगी हो रही है। OIC जो मुस्लिम कंट्रीज़ का संगठन है, उसने सख्ती के साथ इसको कंडम किया और यूनाइटेड नेशंस को लिखा। मुझे नहीं मालूम कि प्रधानमंत्री क्यों खामोश तमाशाई बने हुए हैं। एक तरफ वो भारत की इज्जत की बात करते हैं, यहाँ पे भारत की इज्जत के साथ खिलवाड़ हो रहा है।
Multiple colleges in Karnataka saw a repeat of scenes which have exposed the deep divide over hijab. Many colleges imposed the High Court mandated uniform for students, which bars donning hijab and saffron scarves. Only to witness serious backlash from students in hijab and adamant parents.
This is not rules. What they are doing there?
What are they telling you?
They are telling that don't wear hijab and burqa. What it means?
Earlier you could come with a hijab inside. Earlier were they allowing you to wear?
Yes.
She said that we are not coming over here to do anything wrong. We're just students. The college allowed us, gave us permission to wear a hijab. So why are they stopping us now? The authorities, in fact, what they tell us is that considering what really happened in the past few days, where girls were allowed to wear their hijab inside, and then you had boys wearing the saffron shawl, the institution did not want or does not want to take any sort of chances. And that's one of the reasons why they're not allowing them to wear any sort of religious attire, that is a hijab.
In Vijaypura, the arguments turned even more heated.
Court order very clearly says we make it clear that this order is confined to such institutions wherein the college development committee have prescribed the student dress code uniform. If you have allowed, how are you not allowing now? What is this? No. If you have allowed before, why is it different? If you are allowing now, how is it different?
ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿ ಆಯ್ತು ನಿಮಗೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ
ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ. Do you think the future of these students are not hampered? Isn't the future of these students not hampered?
Allahu Akbar became a rallying cry for these students in Tumakuru. Students in hijab resorting to sloganeering in Chikmagaluru to back their right to don the Islamic head covering. But many in hijab were turned away. In Hubali, parents confronted cops after their children in hijab were stopped from entering school. India Today also uncovered a PFI link to some of the protests. A PFI poster rallying students for the hijab stir was removed after our report. With Nabila Jamal in Udupi and Nolan Pinto in Shivamoga, Bureau Report, India Today. So the countdown to the big Punjab battle has begun. The electoral state of Punjab will go to polls in a single phase, and that's happening this weekend on 20th February. 3 days before polling day, Punjab will see several political heavyweights campaign in the fray. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to campaign in Punjab's Abhor, where he will address a public rally. While campaigning in Pathankot on Wednesday, Prime Minister Modi launched scathing attacks, calling the Aam Aadmi Party as the rocks of Congress. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi will also be campaigning in Fatehgarh Sahib district of Punjab. Priyanka Gandhi is going to be campaigning in Pathankot, where the Prime Minister campaigned yesterday, post which she will also be part of a door-to-door campaign in Ludhiana. Around 2.15 crore voters in Punjab will decide the fate of 1,304 candidates in the fray.
ये आमने सामने होने का दिखावा कर रहे हैं। आप मुझे बताइए, दिल्ली में पहली बार आप पार्टी की जो सरकार बनी थी, उसको पूर्ण बहुमत नहीं था। उसको पूर्ण बहुमत नहीं था। किस पार्टी ने उनको सरकार बनाने के समर्थन दिया था? किसके समर्थन से दिल्ली में वो पहली बार मुख्यमंत्री बने थे? तो एक ही चट्टे बट्टे के लोग हैं कि नहीं है? ये जेरोक्स कॉपी है कांग्रेस की। चाल चलन सब वही है। भाइयों बहनों, सच्चाई ये है, अगर कांग्रेस ओरिजिनल है तो ये दूसरी पार्टी उनकी फोटोकॉपी है।
आपके सामने भाजपा और आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता दोनों एक भी साथ में खेलने वाले नेता हैं, एक जैसे हैं दोनों। नरेंद्र मोदी जी को देखिए, श्री अरविंद केजरीवाल को देखिए, दोनों की शुरुआत कहाँ हुई? दोनों की शुरुआत आरएसएस से हुई। एक ने कहा कि 15 लाख रुपए आपको दिलवाएंगे, दूसरे कह रहे हैं कि 7 लाख दिलवाएंगे। जहां काम किया है, एक ने गुजरात मॉडल बोला, दूसरे दिल्ली मॉडल बोल रहे हैं। गुजरात मॉडल का आपने देखा क्या हुआ? कुछ नहीं हुआ।
So as I said, days to go for polling in Punjab, and the Punjab Congress has yet another headache now. Congress MP, a star campaigner for the party, Manish Tewari, has posted a rather cryptic tweet. He's written, "If I speak up, it can be perceived as rebellion. If I stay silent, it makes me feel helpless." With this post, speculation is rife that Manish Tewari could just take a decision that could hurt the grand old party. This tweet comes at a time when Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi and of course the State President Navjot Singh Sidhu are at war, despite the announcement of the Congress High Command that Channi is the chosen face, that he is the Punjab Congress Chief Ministerial face. Adding to those woes is the festering factionalism within the Punjab Congress unit. Manish Tewari's Bhagawat post comes after Gandhi loyalist and former Law Minister Ashwini Kumar quit the Congress, and this is after 46 years in the party. Congress has seen many high-profile exits in the last few months, including RPN Singh, Jitin Prasad, who joined the BJP right after quitting the grand old party. Let's move on to some other stories also that we're tracking this morning. The release of a 17-year-old abducted Arunachal teen, Miram Taron, has raised hopes for another family whose loved one was allegedly abducted by the Chinese PLA in 2015. This issue was also raised in the parliament, rekindling the family's long-awaiting desire of Tapur Pulom's safe return after 7 whole years.
January 27th was a day of celebration for people of Arunachal's Sayang district. After spending 9 days in Chinese PLA's custody, 17-year-old Miram Taron was handed over to India. The successful release of Taron has raised the hopes of another missing Arunachal resident's family. Tapur Pulom was allegedly abducted by the Chinese army way back in 2015. Pulom had gone on a hunting expedition near the LAC in August 2015 with a friend. The friend returned a few days later citing illness. He informed Pulom's family that Pulom had decided to stay back in the jungle camp. When the family couldn't trace Pulom for a few days, they raised an alarm.
जब वो एकदम हुआ था तो जैसे ही हुआ था तो उसका जो साथी है उन्होंने नहीं बताया हम लोग को परिवार वालों को तो उन्होंने बोला कि वो बीमार है तो इसलिए वो पहले आ गया मेरा फादर तो वहीं पे रह गया तो फिर हमने कुछ समय इंतज़ार करने के बाद में ढूंढने के लिए भेजा परिवार से मतलब जस्ट बिलोंगिंग्स को छोड़ के फादर को नहीं मिला हम लोग को लगा कि शायद गिर के भी कुछ इसके साथ हादसा भगवान ना करे हादसा हो गया होगा लेकिन ऐसा भी कुछ हम लोग को निशान नहीं मिला.
Pulom's friend admits he fled after they were surrounded by 30 men.
बहुत सारे लोग था बोला उसमें ना तो गिना चुना बहुत सारा था 20-30 शायद होगा तो वो उसको लेते हुए देख के हम भाग गया मतलब शुरुआत में.
The family has sought help from Chief Minister Pema Khandu and Union Law Minister Kiren Rijiju to track down Pulom.
आज हम लोग मोरीगांव से हम लोग 2 दिन का सफ़र तय करके यहाँ प्रेस ब्रीफिंग के लिए आने का हम लोगों का अपील है मीडिया के थ्रू से अपील करने के लिए मतलब गवर्नमेंट से भी और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से भी ताकि हम लोग का जितना भी बात है जो हम लोग का ग्रीवियस है वो मीडिया के थ्रू ही मतलब सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट तक पहुँचे इसीलिए हम लोग से भी यहाँ पे आए हैं.
The issue was raised in Parliament in the budget session. Tapir Gao, the BJP MP from Arunachal East, who first alerted the world about Miram Taron's abduction, asked the centre to intervene and get Pulom back.
जैसे मोदी साहब ने 6 बच्चों को 2 साल में पीएलए का हाथों से जैसे रिहा करवाया, मैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से ये रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ कि 2015 में जिसको पीएलए ने लेके गए अरुणाचल प्रदेश के उस नागरिक को भी वापस लिया जाए यही मैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से मांग करता हूँ.
7 years have passed since Pulom's disappearance. Taron's safe return has rekindled Pulom's family's hopes of a reunion. With inputs from Yuvraj Mehta in Itanagar, Bureau Report, India Today.
As tensions simmer in Ukraine, the centre has reached out to Indian nationals who are currently living in Ukraine, allaying their fears. The Ministry of External Affairs has said that it will now increase flights from Ukraine to India to give an opportunity to all of these Indian nationals to leave immediately.
Tensions simmering at the Russia-Ukraine border as trust deficit grows among the neighbors. While Russia has declared it is pulling back some of its forces from the borders, Ukraine fears the threat of invasion is still real. Russia-Ukraine face-off has the Indian government on its toes. The centre has reached out to Indian citizens in Ukraine. There are 20,000 Indian students in that country.
Actually, most of the parents are calling daily from morning till evening to know about what is happening. Should they call their children back to India or not? So, but till now, as a situation, we get to know from students and from Indian Embassy and from the University Authority, everything is stable.
The Ministry of External Affairs on Wednesday set up a control room for assistance of Indian nationals in Ukraine. The government has also started a 24-hour helpline for Indian citizens in East European nations. The move comes after the Indian embassy in Kiev received calls complaining about the non-availability of flights to India. The Ministry of External Affairs asked people not to panic as more flights are being arranged to bring Indian nationals home. Much depends on how events play out. NATO claims there is no Russian de-escalation at the border, as Moscow claims. The Western military alliance has said it is considering more troops and weapons to bolster Eastern Europe's defenses. Bureau Report, India Today.
West Indies succumbed to their fourth straight defeat on their tour of India as the Men in Blue cruised to yet another victory, this time in the first T20 International at the Eden Gardens. Check out how the Rohit Sharma era in the shortest format got off to a winning start.
In the air, should be taken. Opting to bowl first, Bhuvneshwar Kumar provided India the perfect start with a wicket in the very first over.
Big shot straight.
Kyle Mayers then struck a few boundaries as West Indies reached 44 for 1 at the end of power play.
He's gone straight away.
On the very first ball after the power play, Nicholas Pooran hit one straight towards long off, where debutant Ravi Bishnoi pounced the catch but stepped on the rope in his follow-through. But Chahal had his wicket when he got Mayers out leg before for 31. Ravi Bishnoi was also super impressive in his first game for the Men in Blue. He put a lid on the scoring rate before getting Roston Chase and Roman Powell in the very same over. West Indies' experiment to send Akil Hussain up the order also didn't last long. The visitors were 96 for 5 after 15 overs, and just when India thought they had the advantage, Pooran cut loose. He scored a flurry of boundaries in the final overs. With Pollard too finding his shots after Pooran's departure, West Indies did well to finish with 157 on the board.
Ability to hit.
But captain Rohit Sharma started with a bang. The Indian opener took a heavy toll of the West Indies bowler in the power play. After 6 overs, India only needed 100 more runs for victory. Rohit though departed trying to hit another maximum, with Odean Smith taking a smart catch. While Ishan Kishan scored 35, he could never get going and departed trying to hit a big shot of Roston Chase. Virat Kohli's poor form continued as he lifted one straight down to Kieron Pollard at long off.
Didn't find the middle of the bat.
Even as Surya Kumar Yadav started with a couple of fours, Rishabh Pant never got going, perishing for just 8 runs. But Surya was in no mood to give up. He struck boundaries one after the other, and along with Venkatesh Iyer for company, ensured the hosts got over the line.
But good enough for 6. And India win it in style. Venkatesh Iyer, 24 of 13. And India
Sports Bureau, India Today.
In a game in which for most...
And that's all we have time for in this edition of First Up. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead. Stay tuned to us here on India Today for all the top stories.